Helpy is looking down at ace-king suited. Pre-flop, this is the classic Finland on Finland friendly fire setup as a quiet cooler. Helpy opens absolutely standard with stacks this deep. Sointila finds pocket aces in late position and 3-bets to 12,000, also totally routine. He wants value from all the big Broadway hands and pocket pairs that will hate folding pre-flop. Helpy just calls, which is fine and probably best. 4-betting turns his hand face up and lets Sointila play perfectly. Flatting keeps Sointila's entire 3-bet range in, disguises the suited monster, and sets up a lot of future boards where Helpy can either represent big strength or actually have it. The flop comes a dream and a nightmare at the same time. Helpy's check is really good. His hand doesn't need protection, and he wants to give Sointila every chance to c-bet with overpairs or bluffs. The turn only makes things worse for aces. Helpy is still sitting on the stone nuts and checks again, continuing with his failed attempt to trap. Sointila's second check is basically him resigning to showdown mode. He beats all the bluffs but is drawing dead versus any club. Helpy finally reaches for chips and chooses 6,000. A classic please pay me sizing. It is small enough that aces without a club feel priced in, but big enough to matter. From Sointila's seat, this is actually a very foldable spot. He holds no club, the line never looks like a bluff, and Helpy's range has far more club combinations than his. But when you start the hand with aces, it is hard to hit the brakes on the river for such a small amount.
Pre-flop you have.
Tedeschi kicks things off with pocket queens. He is raised to 36,000, but he's up against Mallister, whose cards we don't know yet.
Philip Mallister calls out of a stack of 1.74 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of dimp.
Rabba comes in from the big blind, so a 3-way to the flop.
Chaya Rabba.
And that flop is Queen 8-4 with 2 clubs. Looks like Rabba has checked to the razor.
Makes sense.
Tedeschi's pocket queens just flopped top set on a pretty dry board. It's a dream scenario for him, but Mallister and Rabba could easily have flush or straight draws since they just called pre-flop. So he's probably going to look for a value bet here.
It's been checked to Mallister. And I've been impressed by what we've seen from this guy today.
Pose.
Really?
It supposedly means you're comfortable. A lot of poker players sit like that.
So the bet from Mallister is 48k.
Rabba doesn't look like he's gonna fold here. We don't know if he's drawing or if he actually has a piece of the board. But after Tedeschi checked on the flop, he might raise and try to scare him off.
Rabba calls. Monsieur Tedeschi.
I think it's Paul Tedeschi, actually.
Tedeschi's in an interesting spot here. He's confident his hand is strong, but Rabba's call indicates some kind of draw or a strong pair. He's probably wondering if Rabba's just trying to see the turn cheaply or if he's setting up a move. It's a tricky decision. Does he bet for value or does he just call and allow these 2 bad boys to potentially bluff on the turn?
That's a call as well. We're still 3-way as we go to the turn. Yeah, Jack of Hearts on the turn. Rabba checks. And I think that was a check from Tedeschi, yep.
He's gone from the 1 arm on 1 shoulder to 2 arms on 2 shoulders. The old water slide pose.
Philip Mallister bets again, 136,000.
This could be a potentially huge pot.
Especially as it looks like he's calling. He's raised all in. Mallister just called. He flats the all in. But look at the price he's getting.
Cool.
Okay, well.
Does call.
No one has a pot-sized bet left behind now.
Good point.
The river brings the ace of hearts and Rabba's looking down at the board, still not knowing the strength of Tedeschi's hand. He could be holding a decent pair or even a straight, but the ace definitely changes the dynamic. Does he believe Tedeschi has a hand like 2 pair, or is he worried about a potential set or a straight? The ace might just be the card Rabba needs to bluff at this pot and try to steal it.
Do these 2 just check it down? No, they don't. He bets 300?
Actually competing for the main pot of 1.4 million. And now, Mallister moves all in.
How does everyone have a hand here?
I have no idea. Baffling the way this hand is played out. That's a call.
No, it's a fold. Yes. And he likes what he sees.
No, King 10 clubs.
King 10 of hearts for a royal flush.
It is a royal, and look at that, Tedeschi did have a set of queens. What a terrible, disgusting run out for what is going to be the best hand almost always.
This was a nasty royal flush poker river cooler.
Goofy limps the big blind with King 10 suited. Limping protects his range, invites isolates from hands he dominates, and keeps the pot manageable out of position with a hand that plays cleanly post-flop. Nick Airball isolates to $1,200 from under the gun with Queen 9 offsuit. The raise pressures the limp, seizes initiative, and expects to realize equity against a single caller. Goofy calls. Suited Broadway is too strong to fold, too thin to 3-bet out of position, and calling keeps Nick's range wide. Goofy checks. On an ace high, 2-diamond texture, Nick is supposed to continuation bet often, so checking lets that happen. Nick obliges for $700, a small, range-driven stab that folds air and taxes random backdoors while leaning on his perceived ace advantage. Goofy check raises to $1,700. King 10 of diamonds is a premium semi-bluff, gut shot to Broadway, the king high diamond draw, and even a royal flush. Raising clears out weak queens and 5s to 9s, charges worse draws, and starts a pot that can realize maximum value when diamonds or Broadway materialize. Nick calls with middle pair and position, keeping bluffs in and retaining control of the pot size. Bang! The 3rd diamond lands and Goofy upgrades from a draw to the nuts. With his story perfectly coherent after the flop raise, he leads $2,000. Leading now Prince, worse diamonds pay, stubborn Queen X pays, and some Ace X talk themselves into continuing because the Jack is a counterfeit scare rather than a clean killer in their minds. Goofy goes for a small, irresistible value bet of $3,500. After check raise, lead, and a blank river, this size targets exactly what Nick shows up with most often.
Makes the call.
Royale.
Royale with cheese.
Royal.
Daniel Negreanu opens the action with ace-queen, one of those classic Broadway hands that works beautifully as a raise.
Come on, Daniel, every hand?
Yes, every hand.
Jeez.
Every hand till Saturday.
Saturday, he gets his highlights touched up.
But when Barbero calls with pocket deuces, he is entering the hand with a completely different script. Small pairs are not strong in isolation.
Guy Kenny.
Asham and Kenny call.
Here we go.
Got some of that loose cannon money.
For Negreanu, this looks like a board he can lean on. The paired deuce means there are fewer combinations of trips available, and with his pre-flop raise, he can credibly represent all the strong aces and overpairs. So he fires $3,000, aiming to pick up the pot uncontested or extract value from pairs below the ace. Barbero, though, is sitting on quads. If he raises here, he narrows Negreanu's range immediately to hands that can continue, and with quads, that is the last thing he wants. By just calling, he lets Negreanu's entire bluffing range stay alive, setting a trap that is as much psychological as mathematical. The turn brings the ace. This is where the hand shifts. For Negreanu, the ace is one of the best cards in the deck. His hand improves to top pair, top kicker, and it strengthens the story he's been telling since pre-flop. But this same card is a gift to Barbero. Now Negreanu is less likely to slow down, more likely to stack off, and completely unaware he is drawing dead. Negreanu checks, perhaps to control the size of the pot, but Barbero is not letting this street pass by. He bets $9,200, a number that looks perfectly believable as a value bet with a medium ace or even a stubborn pocket pair. Negreanu calls, convinced he is still far ahead of the likely range. Negreanu checks again, expecting Barbero to take a stab. Barbero obliges with $20,000, a sizing that pressures Negreanu's entire calling range but still looks callable with top pair. From Negreanu's seat, folding feels impossible.
I'm thinking like 6s or 7s. Sixes or 7s are good for me. I had you on ace-4, unfortunately, on the turn. So if you had ace-4, then you just made a straight. Huh.
Drop the stakes you play at in the comments and whether you're an online grinder or live game player. Let's see if we're running with high rollers or micro warriors.
God, I don't like that river. Such a good river for you. If you put me on jacks, right? You figure I have jacks, you have to bet that river card now. So many, I leveled myself with the pause in the turn. You know what I mean? On the turn, I studied, and like sort of changed my range in his eyes, which forces me to go like that.
Daniel calls.
I had the nuts.
Oh, that's good too. Quads!
Cats is holding 7-4 suited. Pre-flop, this heads-up pot begins exactly the way high-level players expect it to. Cats opens the small blind with 7-4 suited, raising to 240,000. In a full ring game, that hand is usually folded, but heads up, ranges widen dramatically. The flop comes, and on the surface it feels like Bonomo has won the lottery. He checks to the razor, which fits normal strategy. Cats is expected to continuation bet frequently. Cats, however, has hit something better. With his 7, he has essentially the nuts, unless Bonomo draws another ace, and if by any miracle another 7 comes, it will be the perfect opportunity to trap Bonomo. By checking, Cats keeps his range looking capped and gives Bonomo full freedom to start telling a value story on later streets. The turn is the 5, which changes very little for the core battle between the two ranges. Draws do not really improve in a meaningful way. The board is still defined by the ace and the 7s. Now Bonomo steps out with a bet of 275,000. From his point of view, this is a natural value bet and protection play. Cats just calls. Raising the turn would advertise real strength on a board that is already hard to bluff. The river brings the final 7, putting quads on the board. This is where the hand becomes psychologically difficult for Bonomo. From his seat, he now has a full house, aces full of 7s. In a vacuum that is extremely strong, and it is easy to assume that the opponent rarely shows up with the one remaining 7 that beats it. He bets 400,000 into roughly 1.1 million, a sizing that looks like thin value targeting weaker aces and maybe stubborn pocket pairs. It is not overly large, which helps encourage crying calls and, crucially, can tempt an aggressive player into turning something into a bluff raise. Cats, holding the unique 7 that actually plays, now springs the final part of the trap. From his perspective, the line makes perfect sense. He checked the flop, flatted the turn, and now when the board pairs again, he applies maximum pressure.
Call.
Bonomo calls. And now, the amateur has the advantage in this heads-up battle.
Jennifer Tilly kicks things off with a pair of 5s. But she's up against Hashem with ace-king offsuit, who has raised to $2,500 in this crazy poker cash game.
Daniel's out. Tilly, pocket 5s. Should be an easy call. She does.
Surprises one time, Ken, and just put the 3-bet in.
It'll happen.
Not
with those cards.
Are you feeling the peer pressure right now?
You can't think of it like that. You have to think that $800 bought you goodwill at the table and possibly an invitation to be invited back. Because, you know, these guys love when you straddle.
The flop comes, 5-king, 7 rainbow. Jennifer hits the set and Joe Hashem just made top pair, top kicker. And if you know poker, you know that's the kind of hand that makes grown men hand over their chips with a smile and then cry in the parking lot.
Tilly donks it for 3K.
Poor Joe Hashem, this is just not his week.
Poker isn't about what you have. It's about what you represent. And right now, Joe's call caps his range. He's telling Jennifer he doesn't have 2-pair. He doesn't have a set. He's sitting on a 1-pair hand, hoping to keep the pot low.
5 of clubs, quads for Jen. This is the second time Joe's been up against quads this week.
Tilly is holding the bangers. But notice, no fast plays, not even a bet. She's hoping he has caught something to hold on to while she tries to slowly squeeze him off.
Joe could easily think he's ahead.
Obviously he does. He bets 6,500.
Everyone at the table thinks she's the playful actress who overplays marginal hands. But right now, she's successfully turning that persona into pure profit. And Hashem, like most men would, falls for her trap.
Jen min raises to 13K.
By making it the smallest raise possible, she's given herself a good shot at getting called.
And Joe does make the call. Jen's got quads and she's got herself a customer. Ace of diamonds, 2-pair for Joe. That is not a good card for him.
20,000.
That's 20K.
I call.
And Joe calls.
I call, Jen.
You call?
4 of a kind again.
Am I the king of quads today or what?
Joe can't believe it.
Really?
Schwan is looking down on pocket 9s. Dylan opens to $150 with King Jack suited, classic live open that leverages position, plays well multi-way, and keeps dominated broadways in. LA Dylan 3 bets to $400 with Ace-8 suited, a light but sound squeeze that blocks the strongest 4 bets, takes initiative, and retains playability when called. Schwan cold calls with pocket 9s in the small blind versus a wide squeeze and a single open. Set mining is priced in, and 9s also realize well on many flops. Dylan closes the action by calling King-Jack suited, doesn't want to 4-bet and face a jam. It realizes equity cleanly in position. Schwan checks her underpair on a paired 2-diamond board. Leading folds worse and isolates better. Dylan checks in the middle 2 overcards but no diamond and sandwiched between ranges, so pot control is best. L.A. Dylan stabs $500 into a multi-way pot. That bet folds a chunk of ace-highs underpairs, charges diamond draws, and keeps his C-bet range balanced with some bluffs. Juan calls. 9s beat a lot of L.A. Dylan stabs and can improve. Raising mostly turns her hand into a bluff versus better 10s flush draws. Dylan lets it go. No diamond, poor visibility. The 3rd diamond lands and an overcard to Schwan's 9s arrives. Schwan checks again, keeping her range uncapped and avoiding getting blown off equity by a check raise. From her seat, L.A. Dylan's flop stab can include many single diamond floats. Forcing those to fire again has value. L.A. Dylan checks back, very disciplined with ace-8 no diamond. His turn barrel would target mostly stronger hands and invite check raises from Schwan's diamond holdings. Checking preserves showdown value versus busted floats and protects his range for when she does show up with slow-played flushes. 4 diamonds on board plus straights complete. Ranges compress and many 1-pair hands hate life. Juan leads for $2,895.
Really? I played this so bad then.
Andy is looking down on ace-4 suited in a 3-way pot. Mariano raised to $500 with King-10 suited, and Charles 3-bet to $2,000.
Could we see a cold 4-bet? No, he's going to call, though. Mariano is going to 4-bet, though. Charles calls. Andy may be considering something.
Good call.
He just calls.
The pot is $27,000 pre-flop. They all have an equal chance for now. Let's see what the flop brings.
Oh, no! You gotta be kidding me!
Andy checks because he thinks he has the best hand. Mariano checks because he knows he has the best hand. And Charles checks because he knows he's drawing dead. The turn comes 3 of hearts, and it changes nothing for everyone.
Mariano, in a 4-bet pot, has flopped a straight flush, and Andy with the ace-high flush.
Mariano cannot check anymore with the straight flush and value bets $8,000. Charles understandably folds.
Mariano started this hand with about $300,000.
Andy raises to pot amount $35,000.
Imagine having a straight flush and getting raised.
The only way to get away from an ace-high flush is if the board pairs. In poker, the correct move doesn't always get you the win. Let's see how much Mariano is gonna bet here, and if Andy makes one of the greatest folds in poker history.
Mariano on the right side of your screen, right there, has flopped a straight flush in a 4-bet pot. $97,000 in the pot.
There's no way anyone is folding ace-high flush here.
Board does not pair, and Andy just bets $120,000. Mariano moves all in. Andy calls and shows him the ace. $611,000 pot, and Mariano can't believe it.